West Ham United FC, West Ham ICF-INTER CITY FIRM. This was for you. Now, let's have it right. Whatever your affiliation is, globally, internationally, in England, in UK scene, West Ham United FC, or shall we say the supporters, and the cultural impact coming from their supporters has changed the world. And a lot of you out there may not know it if you don't follow the sort of stuff we're into. Football casuals, hooliganism, skinheads, yeah? OE music. And that's fine. You don't have to understand it to know that it changed your life, bro. So yeah, West Ham United, right? Football club. But their supporters, there was already hooligans, let's say. If you go back in the histories and you read the great book Among the Thugs by Bill Buford, as I did when it came out, you'll see that there's football violence, and that goes back to the chariot races and Roman Empire, football, sports-related violence. That's not football hooliganism as such, yeah? So the first firm, I don't see anybody disputing it, and I wasn't there for it, but I've been knowing about this stuff since 1986, when I first had the heavy metal catalogs. I used to order from the Hit Parader magazine, and I'm ordering heavy metal shirts on the punk section. I didn't know what punk was, really, until I saw Repo Man, 1986. And that's when I started realizing that I found the music and I changed my life. I become a punk, I become a skinhead, everything else. That led me to the hooliganism. So, back then I had already seen these West Ham United logos. From who? From Cockney Rejects. A business. My mate, rest in peace. The man up there, I'm talking about Mickey Fitzsimmons, Mickey Fitz the business, representing the West Ham. I saw the logos. Hardcore hooligan. As a kid, I'm starting to see this. Little by little, I got more into it. Cockney Rejects. I'm reading the book now of Annis Abraham, the great Mr. Annis Abraham, cat of Soul Crew, yeah. And he's talking about going to West Ham. And going back, he's talking about early 80s, late, and it was a tough piece of work, buddy. And he was a skinhead, but his father, rest in peace to his father, was a great man, obviously established gambling in South Wales. He didn't let him have a skinhead haircut, did he? I'm talking about Mr. Annis Abraham's father. Well, he had his boots. He had to wait till he got outside to roll them up. But anyway, he had on the back of his jacket, this isn't Cardiff. He's got Cockney Rejects on his back. So it shows you the power of this band and this culture and this style, that even in the place where most people hate English, talking about Wales, Cardiff, even still, he wrote across the back of his jacket, as I read, Cockney Rejects. So we have Cockney Rejects, a business, Mickey Fitzsimmons, ICF. And what I've come to know is a man like Bill Gardner. And people said, no, he's not ICF. I feel like he's the founder of the ICF. But he doesn't claim it. He's in Mile High Boys, I believe, right? Mile High Boys. So the Bill Gardner, he's a legend. He deserves credit for starting this movement in a lot of ways. Then you go on, the biggest name you're gonna know, no pun intended, the legend himself, Cass Pennant. Cass Pennant, he got his own clobber line. He's been well documented. And the Carlton Leach, who Rise of the Foot Soldier is based on. So I'm gonna leave it there. Because West Ham United, I'm not a West Ham supporter, but I got no problem with it. And I was just in Cardiff with watching a press and Cockney Rejects. Those guys know who I am, the Cockney Rejects. They had a great time. They're there with Cardiff, they're there with the press, blah, blah, blah. So it's all love. We're in a skinhead scene, and there's football rivalries and this and that. But you got people who's football hooligans who got nothing to do with skinheads and oi. So they're not gonna feel the same way as us. But us, it's a family, mate. And I'll say this, as Cass Pennant said, the England was racist when he was that age, all right? When he was a young man, late 70s, early 80s. Well, I saw him say where he wasn't black and where he wasn't a nig-nog or whatever they used, terms they used from, was at West Ham, all right? Because he's claret and blue, innit? Irons, hammers, come on you irons. Respect to the West Ham. I may not be a West Ham supporter, but you guys are my family. Cheers to Mickey Fitzsimmons.